All right, so what happens at this point is essentially just a chain reaction to all of the stuff that we've been talking about. Those four causes leading up to all of this. So the leaders of Austria-Hungary are obviously devastated that their sort of prince, basically the next in line to the throne, has been killed, and they blame Serbia for it, since it was Serbian nationalists who did this. So Austria-Hungary contacts Serbia and is like, hey, we're going to do an investigation into the death of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and we expect you guys to fully cooperate with us and help us find out who did this. And Serbia's like, no, why would we do this? Like, we didn't do this. We didn't send someone to kill, Archduke what's-his-face. It just happens to be people, you think it is people who just happen to be Serbian. Like, you can't say that we had anything to do with this, so why should we cooperate with your investigation? No, this is all you. You're on your own. So Austria-Hungary is devastated and feeling very bad. And while they're feeling very bad, they get a call from their best friend, who happens to be Germany. And Germany's basically saying, I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't imagine what you're going through. Don't forget that I'm here for you, like I'm your ally. I've got your back. If anything crazy starts to go down, don't forget that I'm here for you. Now, obviously, hearing that from Germany is going to make Austria-Hungary feel more like bold, like I've been talking about. And it can make the leaders, all these alliances and stuff, can make leaders really reckless. So Austria-Hungary basically says to Serbia, one last chance, you better do this and cooperate with our investigation, or we're going to go to war with you. Austria-Hungary has no problem threatening war because they know that Germany will be there to back them up. So Serbia is like, we're once again we're saying no. Still, we're not doing this. We're not being part of your investigation. Do whatever you think you need to do, but we're not doing it. And so on July 28th of 1914, Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. Now, why would Serbia be okay with going to war with Austria-Hungary? I mean, look at how tiny Serbia is. It's just that tiny little purple blob. Why would they be okay with going to war with Austria-Hungary, which is much larger and much more powerful than Serbia is? Well, just like Austria-Hungary has allies, so does Serbia. And Serbia has one really big one, and that's really the only one you need, and that is Russia. So while Russia might be in a formal alliance with France and Great Britain, they also have a side alliance with Serbia. And Russia, you can basically think of like Serbia's very big, grisly, scary older brother. So Russia gets a call from Serbia. Serbia's like, hey, I'm going to war with Austria-Hungary. You know what that means? This probably is going to implicate you. And Russia's like, all right, well, let's just gear up, I guess. Let's start mobilizing. I've talked to you guys about mobilizing before, and you know how important it is. It can take months for a peacetime military to shift to wartime. So it helps to just sort of get a jump on that if you think that you're going to go to war. So Russia just begins to mobilize. They just start getting their, they start just preparing, essentially. And Germany sees them preparing for war, sees the preparation as a threat, and declares war on Russia. Germany isn't even technically involved in this yet. Right now, it's just Austria-Hungary and Serbia. But now Germany sticks themselves in, makes themselves involved, and makes Russia involved, all in one fell swoop. So Russia has allies, France and Great Britain. So because Russia is now involved, France declares war on Germany because they are allies of Russia. Then Germany is like, all right, well, now if I'm going to go to war with France, that means I need to invade France. And obviously they would expect Germany to invade this way, right? Because they share a land border with France. It would make sense for them to go right from Germany to France. So Germany thinks, what if we sneak through Belgium and attack from the north and come down here to Paris? They won't be expecting that. Unfortunately, this really sucks for Belgium. Belgium was a neutral country, not really involved in any of this. And then all of a sudden, Germany up and declares war on Belgium. So now France and Russia are involved in this, and Belgium, their neutrality is being violated. So Great Britain essentially has no choice but to declare war on Germany. All of that happens in about a week. We go from just one small war between Austria-Hungary and Serbia to now Germany's declaring war on Russia, France is declaring war on Germany, Germany's declaring war on Belgium, and then Great Britain is declaring war on Germany. All of that happened so quickly. This is what I mean by a chain reaction snowball effect. So now that all of this is going on, Germany has basically, as I told you before, they've kept their military high. They have had the largest military and most powerful for about a year now. They've been gearing up for this, and they've sort of taken on the mindset of if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So Germany doesn't need to mobilize. They're already mobilized. And why wait for your enemy to mobilize when you could just attack now? So Germany immediately launches an invasion into Belgium. They tear through Belgium, those poor Belgian people. And then they begin to tear through France. And in about a month, they start this at the end of July. By the beginning of September, they have made it to 30 miles outside of Paris. Here is Paris. So they've made it to around this yellow line, which represents, you can see this is close to the Marne River. So this is very close to Paris. And if Germany makes it all the way to Paris, they've conquered the capital. That's essentially the end of, France and their involvement in the war. So finally, when Germany gets to be about 30 miles from Paris, the French and the British are like, oh crap, we have to do something immediately. So they launch a counterattack onto the Germans, and they stop the Germans at the Marne River. So that is going to be at called the Battle of the Marne, and this is a sort of a series of battles between France and Germany with British help, but it all culminates in the Battle of the Marne. And at the Battle of the Marne, the Germans get in a really strong position on some high ground. And I've talked before about how beneficial high ground can be when you're fighting a war. It's good for offensive and defensive strategy. And they get into this high ground, and they're like, this is great. This is where we need to stay. So they start digging in trenches into this area. And so when the British and the French try to attack, they are just slaughtered by machine gun and artillery fire because the Germans have such a good position and they've dug in all of these trenches for defense. So the French and the British decide, okay, well, we need to dig in trenches too. So pretty quickly, the entire Western Front becomes 450 miles of trenches, stretching all the way from Belgium to Switzerland. So you can see down here's Switzerland. So it goes all the way up here, all the way to the top, to Belgium's coastal border. So very long. So a front is the front of the war, right? The front of your battle lines, where the two enemies face each other. That's the front. So we've got two fronts in this war. Let's take a look at this map. This is the Western Front, what we're talking about right here, right? Because we've got France and Germany fighting each other with some British help over here. So this is going to be the Western Front. The other front is the Eastern Front between Germany and Russia, right? These two are fighting each other as well. Now, Russia isn't going to last very long in World War I, and we'll talk about that later on. But obviously, France and Great Britain are in this for the long haul. So the Western Front is going to be so important. And as the war continues, it's going to be clear that whoever is winning the Western Front is winning the war.